as I unboxed the Meta Quest 3 4 weeks ago, I had one question. Is this really the next big thing in VR? Fast forward to today, and I've got some insights you don't want to miss. The Oculus Quest and Quest 2 played a pivotal role in transforming the VR industry, making the leap from the traditionally expensive and complex realm of tethered PC headsets to the more accessible and user-friendly domain of standalone devices, thereby broadening its appeal to the mainstream audience. However, despite this, VR still had a huge problem: the retention rates. Many users would set their headsets aside, reserving them for occasional use rather than integrating them into their daily lives. The reasons were multifaceted: the isolation of being cut off from the physical environment, the discomfort some users felt after prolonged use, and the lack of must-have applications that warranted regular engagement. But Meta thinks they've found the solution. It's called mixed reality. By blending the virtual with the real, this can potentially make these devices a daily staple for users. As someone who's invested a considerable amount of time in the VR space, having owned both the Meta Quest 2 and the Quest Pro, as well as PSVR 2, I approached the Quest 3 with a mix of excitement and skepticism. Having spent the past 3 weeks testing it, I'm now ready to share my thoughts. After thoroughly testing the Meta Quest 3's mixed reality and pass-through capabilities over a few weeks, it's apparent that lighting conditions are crucial for an optimal experience. In brightly lit environments, particularly outdoors, the pass-through function thrives, displaying a clear and detailed overlay of digital elements onto the physical world. The brighter the setting, the more the Quest 3's pass-through seems to deliver on its promise, with less visual noise and more accurate rendering of the environment. Indoors, the reliance on good lighting becomes even more evident. In areas that lack sufficient natural light, the pass-through's performance drops, resulting in a visual experience that can often feel grainy or blurred. However, despite the general superiority in good lighting conditions, there's still a consistent issue with warping when interacting with objects at close range. This indicates that while the pass-through is sensitive to lighting conditions, it also has intrinsic limitations in its current form when processing spatial relationships and depth. Moreover, the mixed reality interface struggles with dynamic interaction. Virtual elements like windows or panels remain fixed in space rather than moving with the user, which can be jarring and detracts from the immersive potential of MR. The mixed reality experience as a whole feels like it's in its early stages. When you're viewing the world through the Quest 3's lenses, you expect a certain degree of crispness and clarity that the current pass-through simply doesn't deliver consistently. It's comparable to viewing the world through a soft filter, appropriate for short-term engagement, but it falls short of the mark for a fully immersive experience. On the content front, the Quest 3 is still finding its footing. The lack of compelling mixed reality applications as of yet means that users are often left with basic functionality or resort to side-loading content for a more engaging experience. Overall, while the Quest 3 shows considerable promise for mixed reality, it's clear that both hardware and software improvements are needed to realize the full potential of MR. The warping issues, indoor visual fidelity, and the nascent stage of MR content development all point to areas ripe for future enhancement. The Quest 3's visual upgrades are immediately obvious as soon as you put it on. It utilizes LCD displays with a 2064 by 2208 resolution per eye, the best screens in any Quest headset yet. Everything appears significantly sharper and more defined. Text finally looks crisp enough to read comfortably for extended periods. The expanded field of view is a welcome enhancement, though it still retains a binocular effect around the edges. Nonetheless, the larger sweet spot made possible by the pancake lenses makes the perceived field of view feel more extensive. The Quest 3's visuals are definitely a massive leap forward. However, striving to be fully transparent, some visual artifacts still remain. For one, the Quest 3 uses an angled lens designed to achieve a wider field of view, a feature pointed out by Norm from Adam Savage's Test It. It does lead to some visual challenges. The design results in aliasing where straight lines, particularly along horizontal planes, appear jagged. Though anti-aliasing and supersampling could help smooth this out. A fair trade-off for the wider field of view, in my opinion. Moving on, there's also a slight mirror effect to talk about. It's a sort of gentle, uneven cloudiness on the screen, mostly visible in very bright scenes. It's pretty subtle though, and most people might not even spot it. Given the overall improvements in visual quality with the Quest 3, it's a small thing that doesn't really take away from the experience. Regarding the screen door effect, which is when you can see tiny gaps between pixels, it hasn't completely disappeared, but the good news is that it's been reduced to a point where it's barely there, so little that it's hardly noticeable, and it shouldn't really pull you out of your immersive experience. Alongside these, glare is still present, particularly in high contrast situations, yet it's less obtrusive than in previous headsets, with the right brightness adjustments further minimizing its impact. Make no mistake though, the visual prowess of the Meta Quest 3 is a significant leap forward, outclassing even the high benchmark set by the Quest Pro. The Quest 3 marks a major generational leap in processing power thanks to its new Qualcomm Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2 chip. This 4nm processor allows for significantly higher clock speeds and a GPU that's up to 2.6 times faster than the Quest 2 and Quest Pro, according to Qualcomm. The impact this has on graphics is substantial. Games that have been updated to take advantage of the XR2 Gen 2, like Red Matter 2, look incredibly sharp, with high-resolution textures, better anti-aliasing, improved shadows and lighting, and more detailed post-processing effects. The faster GPU opens the door for more super sampling, better rendering at the native resolution, and visual enhancements that simply weren't possible on the Quest 2. But even with these upgrades, some games still don't look as good as high-end PCVR. There's only so much you can do with mobile hardware. Additionally, the enhanced processing power may prove beneficial for those susceptible to motion sickness, since the smoother visual experience tends to minimize discomfort and promote a more immersive experience. Overall, the processing power is very promising for a standalone headset. In terms of comfort, the Meta Quest 3 has made incremental but insufficient strides in prolonged comfort compared to the Quest 2. Although slightly heavier than its predecessor, the Quest 3 definitely feels lighter on the face, a major advantage largely attributable to the use of pancake lenses. These lenses compact the optic stack, which contributes to a more balanced weight distribution and reduces the amount of protrusion from the front. Additionally, Meta's redesigned the strap, splitting it into two at the back to further enhance weight distribution. Initially, the headset felt relatively comfortable. However, after about an hour of use, specific pressure points, especially on the forehead, became apparent. Over the past few weeks, I've identified some definite comfort issues that need to be addressed. Firstly, the facial interface of the Quest 3 has undergone a redesign. The foam padding, initially a bit stiff, softens with use and adapts to the facial structure more comfortably. However, even with this improvement, the pressure distribution remains uneven, with the forehead area still experiencing discomfort after prolonged use. Adding to the comfort challenge, the adjustment clips on the Meta Quest 3 are on the harder side, which can lead to some discomfort after you've had the headset on for a while. You might find yourself needing to adjust the fit a few times to relieve any pressure or pain caused by the clips. Another notable design change is the removal of padding around the nose area. While this might have been intended to enhance comfort, it results in a gap that allows light to leak through. This can be quite distracting, as it diminishes the sense of immersion that VR is known for. Lastly, the headset retains its compute and battery components in the front. While this design maintains a slim profile, it also means that during extended or intense use, there's a noticeable warmth in the top region, particularly around the vent area, which can compound the comfort issues. There are a few upsides to the new design change, however. The addition of vents in the facial interface does a better job at preventing lens fogging. For glasses wearers, the Quest 3 offers a thoughtful accommodation. Buttons inside the visor now allow users to easily create extra space within the visor, which means there's no longer a need for a separate spacer to make room for glasses. When it comes to adjusting the IPD, the Quest 3 introduces a more user-friendly system. A manual slider allows for continuous control over the IPD setting, providing a more precise fit compared to the Quest 2's 3 fixed positions. Additionally, the adjustable range is broader, catering to a wider variety of users. Setting up the Quest 3 is more streamlined as well. The system can now scan the user's environment and automatically create Guardian boundaries, which is a significant step forward for room-scale VR. Moving on to the new Quest 3 and its Touch Plus controllers. The first thing you'll notice is the significant design overhaul. Notably, the tracking rings, a prominent feature in previous models, have been entirely removed. This change has led to a more ergonomic design, making the controllers feel instantly familiar yet improved in the hands. In place of the tracking rings, the controllers now utilize infrared LEDs, enhancing both design and tracking capabilities. This relocation means you no longer need to worry about banging the tracking rings together, a common issue with the older design. Additionally, the haptics have been upgraded. While they may not be as powerful as those in the Quest Pro controllers, they're definitely a big leap from the Quest 2, providing stronger and more nuanced feedback thanks to new voice coil actuators. This improvement in haptics enhances the overall immersion in VR experiences. A crucial ergonomic improvement is in the battery door cover. Unlike the previous models, where pressure could accidentally slide the cover off, the Quest 3 controllers feature a small release button on the side for this purpose, ensuring the cover stays securely in place. Regarding tracking performance, I put these controllers to the test and the tracking was impressively reliable. In terms of battery life, the Quest 3 controllers still operate on swappable AA batteries, which is convenient and doesn't seem to have a significant impact on their overall performance or battery life compared to previous models. But there's more to the Quest 3's interaction than just the longevity of its controllers. If you've been using the Quest 2, you've probably noticed how much the hand tracking's improved over the years, especially with the direct touch interface. What's interesting is that with the Quest 3's sharper screen and mixed reality features, hand tracking feels a lot better. I find myself using hand gestures more frequently to navigate the browser, type on the virtual keyboard, and mess around with the Home app. Even though you don't get that tactile feedback like you'd expect when touching a real object, the visual and audio cues make the experience pretty satisfying. However, the immersion does hit a bit of a snag when it comes to verbal interaction. The microphone on the Quest 3 has garnered attention for its audio quality, which many compare to a phone call, clear but lacking depth, with high frequencies dominating. This crispness can make voices sound unnatural. The issue likely stems from software rather than hardware, as it appears that the microphone input bypasses the usual filters, capturing even faint background noises. This suggests the possibility of a software update from Meta to refine the microphone's performance and deliver a more balanced, natural sound. However, turning our attention to the audio output, the Quest 3 impresses. The integrated speakers deliver a substantial improvement in audio immersion. The spatial sound technology is finely tuned, and with volume levels that are approximately 40% louder than its predecessor, coupled with deeper bass, the overall auditory experience is exemplary. On the content front, the Quest 3's library is set to expand, with games that not only play on the Quest 2, but are expected to shine on the newer hardware with enhancements in clarity, texture details, and visual effects. For instance, titles like Asgard's Wrath 2 and Assassin's Creed Nexus will be compatible with both headsets, but the Quest 3's advanced chipset will give these games a visual edge. I'm excited about the potential for future games that will be designed exclusively for the Quest 3, fully exploiting the capabilities of its new chipset to bring even more impressive graphics to the standalone VR scene. This potential for unbridled creativity could lead to a range of games that truly set the Quest 3 apart from its predecessors. As for those who prefer PC-based VR, the good news is that the Quest 3 also excels in this area. After spending a good amount of time testing various games, I can say that the Quest 3 really steps up the PCVR game compared to the Quest 2. You notice the difference in the details, like in Half-Life Alyx, where small things like the stitching on gloves or strands of hair stand out more than they used to. The picture quality on the Quest 3 is a big improvement. The better resolution and optics make everything sharper. Even comparing it to the Quest Pro, games like Half-Life Alyx just look better. But it's not all perfect. The Quest 3 doesn't match up to dedicated PCVR headsets when it comes to things like contrast and black levels. You might notice compression artifacts more, especially at lower bit rates. Overall, the Quest 3 really brings a top-notch PCVR experience. It's not quite on par with specialized headsets in every aspect, but it's a significant upgrade from its predecessor, especially if you're mainly looking for better PCVR visuals. Overall, after spending 4 weeks with the Quest 3, it's clear that it represents a significant step forward in the realm of standalone VR headsets. Meta has done an impressive job of blending the standout features of both the Quest 2 and the more premium Quest Pro. The result is a headset that features enhanced pancake lenses, potential for rich mixed reality experiences, a noticeable bump in processing power, and better ergonomics. The Quest 3 seems to chart a new milestone in consumer VR by expanding the capabilities of what a standalone unit can do. Yet its full potential is somewhat in the wings, waiting for a broader range of software that can fully tap into the new hardware's power. Those enthusiasts looking for the ultimate VR experience may still lean towards PC-tethered VR systems, which currently offer the highest graphical fidelity and performance. Meanwhile, those mindful of their budget have the option to stick with the still capable Quest 2. As we look to the future, assuming Meta delivers on the enhanced MR social and gaming experiences they've outlined for the next year or two, the Quest 3 is well positioned to lead consumer VR into an exciting phase. For the moment, even if the ecosystem hasn't yet grown to match the Quest 3's advanced tech, Meta has definitely raised the bar with this release. It might take some time for the content to catch up, but the prospects for the Quest 3 are promising.